Hey everybody, welcome back to the second quick review or quick reviews. And I still haven't fully decided on the title yet. Could be short reviews as far as I know, or quick reviews. I have no idea, but we got to get to it because these are short. So Jonathan and I, Jonathan Moody here, and myself, John Ward, we are going to be reviewing the Salem's Lot remake, the third remake. Yeah, third, and then for 2024, and it's on Max right now. So I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I've read the book, and I do collect the stuff. So I do have the original miniseries here.
I got that on a steel book somewhere.
Oh, nice. I have here from Warner Brothers Archive Collection, Larry Cohen's A Return to Salem's Lot.
Nice.
And I also have the this is the Triple Terror collection of Stephen King's The Shining, Stephen King's It, and Salem's Lot. These are my preferred versions of all these movies. So which is why I love this pack. I think this is the best version of Salem's Lot. It's the closest to the novel, where this one definitely is not. So, but it looks like for the new movie, the 2024 one, they seem to be following this more than they are the book. So, what did you think of this, the newest version?
I mean, I own the Toby Hooper one. I said it's in a steel book, and it's I got it from like Walmart, and I'd seen it on streaming a while back, and I really liked it. I didn't read the book. I'm not really a big reader anyway. And without piss off Stephen King, because that's all he ever talks about is, like, who cares if you like the movie? How'd you like the book? Like, whatever. I thought the movie was fun. I thought it was enjoyable. I've been a really big Gary Dauberman fan, and so when I saw that he directed it, I was really excited. I feel like he doesn't get enough respect, in the horror industry. Like his name's not brought up as much, or whatever, and should be. And I just didn't flat out enjoy the movie.
Okay. So I have read the book, and I'm going to quickly look at what other films he's. Oh, so he also did Television, In the Spider's Web, Blood Monkey, Swamp Devil, and Swamp Thing.
Yep.
Oh, so a lot of these you've probably seen because you've reviewed them.
Yeah, the Maneaters movies. Yep.
Yeah. Then he also did Annabelle, Annabelle Creation, It. Okay.
Yep.
The Nun, Annabelle Comes Home. Oh shit. Okay. It Chapter 2, The Nun 2, Salem's Lot, and then a new film coming out called Until Dawn. Oh, I didn't realize he was the producer of Curse of La Llorona. Oh wow. So I should like him a lot more than what I do. So my biggest problem is I am a Stephen King like enthusiast. I am one for the books. So I liked Salem's Lot, the miniseries, more than Stanley Kubrick's because it's closer to the book. I enjoyed Stephen King's It because of Tim Curry, and then I liked the 2004 version of Salem's Lot. One, I do like seeing reoccurring Stephen King actors, and Rob Lowe had already been in The Stand, which was my preferred version of The Stand. I don't like the new one, but and I don't. A lot of these new films seem to be remaking stuff, but doing it in a different way. So instead of like Pet Sematary, it's not Gage that gets killed, it's the daughter. So they seem to be flipping stuff, which is okay when it's done well. And my big problem with this one and the new one is Barlow is a big problem for me. Barlow does not look like Nosferatu. He does not look like this. In the book, he looks like Dracula. And
Okay.
in the mini series with Rob Lowe, it's Rutger Hauer, which you had just done Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and who's the vampire in that?
Lothos, aka Rutger Hauer. Yes.
Yeah. So getting Rutger Hauer and some of these other actors that have played vampires before back to play these roles, I love. And there is a scene in the book where Barlow is in a junkyard and he's just standing there. He's got like a hat, he's got like a scarf, overcoat. It is described absolutely beautifully. In the miniseries that I like, the 2004 one, it's one shot with a camera, and it is the novel. It is that scene from the book, perfectly done. And it's like, wow, this is great. Now, there are some things in the 2004 version that are different in the book or from the book, but that's fine. It's still the closest one to it. Another problem that I had with the new one is it's not really a problem, but it goes back to, and maybe I just need to get over it. What did you think of the drive-in with their killing all the vampires at the drive-in?
I mean, considering I've never read the book, so I'm guessing that that it's different, or whatever. I kind of thought it was kind of cool. I like the idea that they were all, basically using the trunks as their, crypt, I thought that was pretty neat. And then when they opened it up and then the little kid, spoiler alert, the little kid crashes into the what is it, the theater,
Oh, into the movie
the
screen.
screen, yeah, the movie screen, it fell down and basically opened, the let the light come in and started just wiping everybody out was awesome. Like, that was badass. I like that little kid. That little kid was probably the person that stole the show for me,
It's so they kept them at the age of the book. In the other films, they jacked their age up to be teenagers. So he's supposed to be like 12 in the book.
Yeah, he's 11 in this, I think, or something. 11 and a quarter, in the movie.
Yeah, because he mentions it. And he is race swapped. So it's a white kid in everything else and in the book. Also, like the doctor in this is race and gender swapped. None of that bothered me. It fit perfectly fine. And I thought that kid did steal the show. He kicked ass in this movie. And I did not mind the drive-in stuff because there is a shot of Barlow standing on top of where the projector would be. And I took it, I saw that and went, that's the shot of him in the junkyard. It's one shot of him just standing there looking. And it's like, this is perfect. This looks great. I thought it was well directed. I thought it was 2 hours is not enough to tell this book. It's just not. And the editing was weird, almost like the film was supposed to be 3 hours and they cut it down to 2.
Yeah. So Jeremy Johns, I think it was, I watched his review of this. And he said that there was a lot of, it felt like there was a lot of stuff they cut out because the editing looked choppy. Like, there looked like there's scenes that went from one to another, and I didn't notice that. Like, that didn't, whatever it was, didn't bother me. But probably, it's probably true. They probably did. They had like a 3-hour long movie, if not more, because if they wanted to keep it, as close to the book as they can, maybe they'll release a longer cut, or whatever, and add that stuff in there. But for now, we only get the we should get the Doberman cut, like they do with the Snyder cut.
I would like to see a longer version of this. I mean, the film did sit on the shelf for 2 years. It was called unreleasable. The test screenings were awful for this. And they were never going, they being Warner Brothers, once again, were never going to release it. They were going to pull a Batgirl. And then they decided to release it on Max, and which I think is a shame, but it is incredibly different from the book. I mean, it's they're missing most of the characters from the book are not in it. The ending in the book and in the miniseries, they do take place at the Marston house, and that's where the big final battles happen. And that's also where Barlow is killed. Is like in the basement down below. The one thing that they do in except it's done slightly differently in the miniseries. Well, in the miniseries, it's done immediately after they kill the vampires. In the book, it's done like a year later, which is weird. But is they burn down the entire town because they mentioned the person who started the fire, and you're supposed to think that maybe this fire was set for a reason, like the person knew that Barlow was going to be coming, because there was a person that Barlow and Stryker were talking to. That so our two leads come back and just burn the entire town down, and that basically cleanses the town of evil. And in the mini series, it's pretty much they wipe out the vampires, burn down the town. In the book, they leave the town, the vampires kill everybody else that's not a vampire, and then the guys, our leads, come back and then burn down the town. Right. So it's interesting because the book has a very kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers type of feel. That's what another person that was comparing the book to the film had mentioned, and I thought, that's right. I never thought of it that way, but it does have like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers feel with the vampires. And but
that's kind of cool, like almost like the Faculty had that Invasion of the Body Snatchers thing, where you didn't know who was infected by an alien until you found out, like remember when like Usher walks up and stuff, and you're just like, oh god, he's an alien, or whatever. But it would be really cool if like some of the people just acted like normal and they happen to be a vampire, and stuff, and they walk up and they're like, hey buddy, what's up, you want to hang out,
they do actually. In the book, once our two leads leave, all of a sudden the vampires start inviting in people that aren't vampires. So if it's a diner, they'll sit there and say, hey, we got these specials, come on in. And then the people would go in, and then the vampires would just go right on top of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So they would be normal, like, hey, come on in. We got a sale here. And then, they would just attack everybody else. So it's I always find it interesting because I think, if I remember correctly, I haven't seen it for a while, but the 2004 version has a lot more of the characters in it because it was done in 2 nights. That was when they were doing the big Stephen King 2-nighter things, like It, Langoliers. I mean, all of the Stephen King stuff was always like 2 nights, unless it was.
And those are like 6 hour long movies because they're like
so
3 hours already.
Yeah, they were always separated, so they should get more of the book in there. And there's like a woman whose baby won't stop crying, so she takes a hot iron on it. That's missing. There's
well, I'm glad that's missing.
There's a lot of, we get Susan, who I thought was freaking gorgeous in the remake. And she's Samantha Mathis in the 2004, and then Bonnie Bedelia.
Samantha Mathis is gorgeous. Bonnie Bedelia never had a thing for her. Like, I mean, I think she's a great actress. I just never had the hots for Bonnie Bedelia. I think it's because she was already older when I was young, So I never had a thing for older women,
Well, back in the day, I mean, she was okay back in the day, because this
Die
was what,
Hard.
like,
I just never thought she was. I don't know.
79. I mean, the book was written in 74, so this is 79.
Yeah.
So I mean, back then. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And I mean, A Return to Salem's Lot, I think, is worth watching, because it's Larry Cohen, so it has something to say. There's always some sort of message in it, and it does have Samuel Fuller, the director, Samuel Fuller, like the big red one. Is the vampire hunter. He's like the the Van Helsing
That's weird.
in the movie. And so I recommend, Michael Moriarty, because this was during when Larry Cohen was doing his deal that he made with Warner Brothers when he did It's Alive 3, and he was allowed to do this.
Oh,
So
nice.
I think this is worth watching. But it's
I'm surprised Mick Garris wasn't asked to do it. He's a big, Stephen King slash, I think Warner Brothers kind of person.
well,
I think.
I mean, he directed The Stand.
Yeah.
He directed Sleepwalkers. He has a cameo in the remake of The Stand. In fact, I was very happy that I took a picture of that on my TV screen and went, "Hey, look who has a cameo," and he shared it. And I was like, "Oh,
Nice.
well, Mick Garris
He's a
shared my post."
sweetheart. He's a sweetheart. I love that dude. I've
Yeah,
asked
he's a
him. I've asked him
nice
to
guy.
be on my like as an interview and stuff like a couple times, and each time he has pretty much said he was busy, and like I don't think that's like a rude, like not like it's not like a I'm just gonna say I'm busy. I think the dude is literally always doing something. Like if it's a podcast or if it's a commentary track for something or if it's what I mean, the dude is
Mhm.
always busy. So I don't think he's just blowing me off. I think he literally has so much to do.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but I love him. I
Yeah,
think
no, he
he's
seems
awesome.
like a really nice guy, and he's a good director too.
Hmm.
And yeah, this is one of my problems with this new one is it has nothing to say. Is that there's nothing truly new to add unless you want to maybe say the drive-in scene. That when you look at the novels that were written back then, stuff like I Am Legend, which is where a lot of this stuff comes from, is communism. Stephen King said that he read Dracula, and that's what gave him the idea for this, which is why Barlow looks like Dracula. The Stand is basically could be looked at as like AIDS.
Right.
Aliens is AIDS. Is that the xenomorphs are looked at as a virus, like a virus that won't stop. I just don't see in these new Stephen King movies, if it's Firestarter, even
Oh.
Pet Cemetery, the prequel, the Bloodlines. I don't even with the It movies, I don't really see true passion. I don't really see a message. I don't really see these guys really. I don't know. They just don't. They just seem cold, soulless.
Well, actually, I disagree with the it. I think it did have a very big message about. I mean, there was things in there like there was racism in the beginning, the first chapter, and different things that they hit, and they weren't like in your face. I'm blah blah blah. It was just things that that people dealt with or whatever. There was some racism shit that was in there and stuff like, there were little messages on uh but this movie I think was just pure entertainment. Like it wasn't supposed to be anything more than just uh vampires, attacking a town. Like it was Lost Boys, you know?
I guess if you're not, because they were so quick to jump to the vampire conclusion.
Right.
Like there was no real investigation of this, and
Maybe that was cut
ex-
out.
I mean, it's possible, yeah. I mean, except for I think maybe like the young black kid. I don't really think any, and with how hot Susan is, yeah, I remember her name because she's hot. Um, I don't think really anybody stood out that much.
I know, I disagree with you. I like the doctor, I thought she was a lot of fun. And she's played by a fantastic actress. I wanna say her name is Alfre, but, Alfre Woodward.
Yeah,
She was
she's a good
wonderful.
actress. Yeah,
She was wonderful. And then I really, really liked the guy that discovered the first vampire, thing. I liked him for and until he bit it, and died. Um, I aside from that, I really, I mean, I don't know. There's a few people. The only person I was very surprised about was William Sadler. I kind of wish he had a bigger part in it, but
Yeah,
I
that was definitely a little cameo in there for
that was
him.
a
So
cameo. Yeah, it was small, but it was nice to see him, and everything. When I saw him, I was like, oh, it's William Sadler. I like that dude.
well, here's something I found out today. So our lead, Ben Mears, that's Bill Pullman's son.
Yeah, Lewis
Yeah,
Pillman. Lewis
which I
Pillman.
didn't know. And looking here at the cast on Wikipedia,
He
Derek
looks.
Mears
Yeah, Derek
played.
Mears is in.
Yeah, he played Hubbard Marston.
I don't know which character that was.
So he would be the owner of the house. So I guess anything that showed any sort of flashback to the house or something, maybe.
I
But
also
that
liked.
he
So I like the teacher. You know, I like the priest who well, it was kind of cliche. I kind of don't like that part. That it was sort of like you've seen that a billion times, like a priest who's lost his faith or whatever,
it's in the
and then
book.
is it in the book? Okay, well,
Yeah.
if they're being faithful to the book, that's okay. That doesn't bother me then. But like, I liked a lot of that stuff. But once again, it reminded me a lot Lost Boys because he comes in and takes the holy water. The kid takes the holy water out of the church and stuff like that. And he was so badass. Like the beginning of the movie where he's being picked on by the kid and then he fights back. And then that was like the moral of the story. There's the message was that there's sometimes you just gotta fight back, you
None of
know.
that's in the book. None
Well,
of that.
but
That's
that's this,
very, very it. So
but that was what was in the movie, and that was what they did, and I liked it. I like that.
sure.
I
I mean,
like
it
the
was fine. It's I just that it's almost like the novel of Jaws to the movie. The
mhm.
characters are there, the shark is there, some of the situations are there, the ending isn't there, but it's still Jaws. So this is still Salem's Lot. It's got characters and
Jerusalem's Lot.
situations and stuff, but it's not exactly the book, but everything is kind of there. So
Jerusalem's Lot, you know, which they just kept calling the lot, you know. They didn't even because I think they couldn't call it Jerusalem's Lot until the end of the movie. Like you see that the place is actually called Jerusalem. You're now leaving Jerusalem's Lot.
well, that's the short story that's the prequel that's in Night Shift.
Right.
Stephen
So,
King's
I
Night
mean,
Shift. So, and there is a One for the Road, which is a vampire, which I think is also a sequel to Salem's Lot. I think that he did a short story that's kind of a sequel to it called One for the Road. So, well,
there you go.
so would you watch this again? Would you own
Oh
it?
yeah.
Would you buy it?
If it went on Blu-ray or 4K, yeah, I'd probably check it out at some point, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's gonna stay on Max and that's it. Which kind of sucks because at any time they can get rid of it if they feel like it, you know. And we've had that have that thing with like the Mike Flanagan movie Hush is now finally coming to 4K. But that was on Netflix for so long, and then they got rid of it, and then nobody could watch it again because it was only on Netflix. You know, so we need to get these companies to understand to still put everything out on physical media because if they get rid of something, we can't watch it. Well, that's not fair. Like we still want to watch the movie, you know?
Well, yeah, and collections. I mean, I would buy. I think of it. I think this will come out because it's also Warner Brothers, so I think it will come out. Probably I'm going to predict February, somewhere around in there. It will probably come out on physical media. If not, then hopefully they just keep a hold of it because it's something I would watch again. I've watched Pet Cemetery, the remake of that, a couple times, and I would never watch the prequel again. I don't think I would ever watch Firestarter again, even though I've seen that twice.
I like the original
So,
Firestarter with Drew Barrymore, but
oh, the original is great.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
so
this. I haven't seen the remake. I'd
it
heard
has its
nothing but good
moments, but
things, but
yeah, it's fine.
uh, I would I gave this 4 stars out of 5. You know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
I'll give it 3 out of 5.
See, it's funny because I think we're sort of like we can be on the same page on some things, and then like I had a feeling you weren't gonna like this one.
I like it. I think that it's fine. I just haven't been a huge fan of a lot of these adaptations recently. I just think the originals are better.
I
So
mean, the originals are always going to be better, most likely. Like, there's hardly ever a remake that's better than the original, you know. But you know, it's still fun. I think it was a fun movie. I think, I really like. Once again, if I think of it as like the Lost Boys and not, like an adaptation of Salem's Lot, you know what I mean? I think I get something more out of it than you do.
yeah, probably. So all right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. And thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Jonathan. So
Yep.
I mean, I think both of us would still watch it again. So I
I
wouldn't have a
definitely
problem
would.
with it. Yeah. So yeah, go check it out. It's on Max. So it's worth watching at least once. So
Yep.
okay. All right, everybody. See you on the next quick review or short review, depending on what title I go with. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.